The Tualatin River is a tributary of the Willamette River located in Oregon in the United States. The river is approximately 83 miles long, and it drains a fertile farming region called the Tualatin Valley southwest and west of Portland at the northwest corner of the Willamette Valley. There are approximately 500,000 people residing on 15% of the land in the river's watershed. The Tualatin River arises near Windy Point on the eastern side of the northern Oregon Coast Range. It begins in the Tillamook State Forest in Washington County and flows about 83 miles to the Willamette River near West Linn in Clackamas County. Along the way, it falls from about 2,000 feet above sea level to about 60 feet, most of that occurring in its first 15 miles. From the unincorporated community of Cherry Grove, 68 miles from the mouth, the river falls only about 220 feet in meanders that trend generally east across the relatively flat Tualatin Valley. From its source, the river flows south for about 1 mile, before turning east to parallel to Blind Cabin Ridge, which is to the river's right. Shortly thereafter, the river plunges over the 40-foot Guya Cuts Falls, then receives Maple Creek from the left, and then Sunday Creek, also from the left, at river mile 76.7. Lee Creek enters from the left and Baton Creek from the right before the river reaches Hillsborough Reservoir, and then Haynes Falls at about RM 73. Hillsborough Reservoir Road and Southwesterly Falls Road run roughly parallel to the river along its left back from the reservoir to the unincorporated community of Cherry Grove. Over the next stretch, the river runs roughly parallel to Haggerty Ridge, which is on the right. About 2 miles further downstream, the river goes over Lee Falls, and, shortly thereafter, Little Lee Falls before reaching Cherry Grove, which is on the river's left at the west end of Baton Valley. At Cherry Grove, the river passes under Roaring Creek Road, receives Roaring Creek from the right, passes under Bruce Road and Southwest S Road, and receives Hearing Creek from the left. Thereafter, it flows under Northwest Mount Richmond Road and receives Mercer Creek from the left about 65 miles from the river's mouth. Below this, Blackjack Creek enters from the left, and the river passes under Oregon Route 47 and flows by the city of Gaston, which is to the right. Turning north near Gaston and meandering roughly parallel to Route 47 to the west, the river receives Wapato Creek, which flows through the former Wapato Lake from the right, and Scoggins Creek, which drains Henry Hagg Lake from the left at RM 60. Soon, O'Neill Creek enters from the left, and shortly thereafter, the river passes under Southwest Spring Hill Road, then receives Dilly Creek from the left at about RM 57.5. At this point, the unincorporated community of Dilly is on the left. At Dilly, the stream meanders east away from the highway, and soon receives Carpenter Creek from the left, and then Gales Creek. Along this stretch of the river, the city of Forest Grove is north of the river. Meandering generally east, the river passes under Southwest Fernhill Road by the city of Cornelius to the left, and the unincorporated community of Blooming to the right, and passes under Golf Course Road about 52 miles from the mouth. Dairy Creek enters from the left at about RM 45 as the river approaches Hillsborough, which is to the river's left. Wandering through Jackson Bottom and the Jackson Bottom Wetlands Preserve, the river passes under Oregon Route 219 and soon receives Jackson Slough from the left, then Davis Creek from the right at RM 40. Passing under Monte Bridge Road about 41 miles from the mouth, and then Rude Bridge Road, the river wanders by the Meriwether National Golf Course, which is on its right, and the Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club, which is to the left, and receives Rock Creek, Gordon Creek, and Butternut Creek, all from the left. Flowing south from the vicinity of the golf course, the river runs roughly parallel to River Road, which is on its left. It passes under Harris Bridge, which carries Oregon Route 10 and Oregon Route 200 at the unincorporated community of Farmington. Further downstream, it receives Christensen and Burris Creeks from the right, and continues south until turning east again at about RM 30. Shortly thereafter, it flows by the unincorporated community of Shoals, where it receives McPhee Creek from the right, before passing under Shoals Bridge and Oregon Route 210. Entering the Tualatin River National Wildlife Refuge at about RM 25.